The Divine Tree arc is hitting its climax, with a clash of powers and exchanges of harsh criticisms. While Mob may have faced stronger opponents, this is his most personal challenge yet, against Dimple at his most devious. Let's get recapping. The Psycho Helmet leader attempts to manipulate Mob, though it's entirely pointless as Mob already knows Dimple was behind it all. Dimple tries to reason with Mob that the followers are free to live their lives with their personalities intact. They'll just be his followers, insisting there isn't a way to return them to their former selves. Mob and Dimple argue that using their powers will ultimately control the free will of others. Teru, now brainwashed by Dimple, attacks Mob for attempting to destroy the Psycho Helmet leader. Mob gets the sense the vines within the tree are dangerous somehow, and decides to blast Teru, ejecting him out of the tree. Dimple sends several clones to fight Mob. While he is easily able to dispatch them, there are still numerous clones that emerge. Exhausted, Mob finally realizes that the vines are absorbing his energy. Dimple makes one last attempt to entice Mob to join him by using Tsubomi. Mob is not pleased by this trick and slaps the hell out of him. Letting his emotions get the better of him, Dimple decides to hold nothing back. Despite showing some regret for going so far, he does something so egregious that Mob enters 100% mode. Dimple mocks his monkey t-shirt. Since Dimple is the star of this episode, I'll begin the review speaking about him. So I think this is the character's lowest moment in the series so far. While he has created a brainwashing cult before, it was nothing compared to this scale. Also, using his personal history with Mob to dig under his skin, getting the crowd to cheer for him, turning Teru against him, and using Tsubomi as part of his scheme. It'll be interesting to see him walk it all back. That's made clear by the way he worries for Mob's safety and also the humorous way the episode ends. Introducing a tonal shift, it's hard to believe they'll be back at each other's throats after that. Dimple claims he only ever intended to use Mob for his powers, but I have to keep leaning on Season 2 for the strongest evidence against that. Dimple could have easily manipulated Mob at his most vulnerable, when he believed his family had perished, and even feels guilty for lying to Mob later on. If I had criticisms of Dimple in this episode, it's not due to his characterization, but more so his abilities. In my last review, I had taken issue with Reagan's brainwashing coming out of nowhere, after it had been established that the hypnosis was caused by ingesting a piece of the Divine Tree. Reagan was never seen doing this, so it felt like the moment he turns against Mob was played for cheap shock value.
You know, I'm not convinced this Psycho Helmet is such a bad guy. No community can function without a leader.
In this episode, another rule for brainwashing was revealed. Just from that, I already take issue with the idea of introducing important information in the last-minute fashion, of course not giving the audience a clue as to what it could have been. But back to this new rule, Dimple can brainwash others by having enough followers surround and influence that individual.
So when Master Reagan said that to me, it really came from you.
I would have given this some credit if Reagan slowly turned throughout the episode. However, he remained firm in destroying the tree throughout. These are his final words before being brainwashed.
If we interfere with the Divine Tree, I'm sure he'll take action. If he's some kind of villain, then whatever it takes, let's free everyone from his sway.
Just a thought here, wouldn't it have been easier to taint the water supply? They were running around a lot in the last episode. Gotta be thirsty at some point, right? For Mob's part in this episode, it's hard not to empathize with him. Having a close friend use every dirty trick possible, and still holding back, fearing he might lose control and kill his friend. Once again showing that he's the most virtuous character, as he has been throughout the series, which unfortunately flies in the face of the trajectory that they were taking his character. How does Giga Chad Mob play into this? I don't think this is a small detail either, because it played a big factor in their argument that ends with them parting ways, but appears to be completely dropped at the moment. In fairness, it could be brought up in their conversation in the next episode, so I'll just leave it there. As action-packed as it is, I think the strongest element is Mob's and Dimple's hesitation to go all out, having to escalate the violence each time they have a failed attempt to convince the other to stop. Slowly, both sides having to start walking over to the point of no return. On to a less stressful tangent. I've never been a big fan of Tsubomi. Nothing wrong with her, she seems like a typical girl her age who is at least clever enough not to trust people at face value. However, compared to the other supporting cast that Mob has interacted with, she's practically a stranger. Dimple speaks about her being a strong-willed individual who knows what she wants and speaks her mind, which I suppose is a step in the right direction, fleshing out this character somewhat after 2.5 seasons. While I can't say that I would have predicted Dimple would go this far to pursue godhood, it also is natural that these two would clash again when Dimple never truly stopped believing in his dream and seizes the opportunity once presented to him. One of the best fights in the series so far, using a relationship built throughout 2 seasons to reach this point to add to that drama. If you had any investment in their relationship, it can be really devastating the underhanded tactics Dimple uses here. Not free from criticism, I don't appreciate lies by omission, but still a good episode nonetheless. That's all for now.